Oh my god, it's here. It's here. He cat. It's here. It's here. It's here. It's here. It's here. It's here. There it is. Gotta wait, Cap. Anycubic Kobra Max. Yeah, man. Look how big this box is. Yeah. You would not believe how heavy this thing is. Getting it up the stairs and in my room. This better be worth it. Hey guys, how you doing? Will at Heroic Studios coming at you with another video. Like I said, I'm going to be doing these more often, but you guys got lucky because I have gotten my hands on 2 new printers. If you missed last week's video, I unboxed the Anycubic Photon Mono X, which was really cool, really awesome, and I got a lot of plans for that one. But today, I am going to be opening one of Anycubic's latest FDM printers. Their Anycubic Kobra Max, which is their large-scale printers, and I've been looking for something big enough to start building my little plaything. So, I'm going to be doing an unboxing video, a first-time print, and I'm going to be printing a few cosplay props, like a Stormtrooper helmet that I'm doing, as well as a Darth Vader helmet that I'm doing. I'm going to use this printer here to print both of those parts. So you'll get not only an unboxing video, but a how-to build video as well. I might have to break this into parts, I think. Might be a little bit too long for that. So, but before we get started, here's a little word from our sponsor, which coincidentally it is not Anycubic. Not Anycubic. Okay, here goes.
Are you mesmerized by the rotating Blastoise that's sitting on your screen right now? Or perhaps you're one of the many people who chose Charmander as their very first starter. Or are you some of the people who chose Bulbasaur and ended up with a Venusaur? Or perhaps you're just a fan of all 3. Whatever the case may be, you can always find something of interest on my Etsy shop, like this Green Ranger Chibi figurine. Look at that. Or maybe you're a fan of the Red Ranger. Just look at those details. Or if you're into Pokemon like I am, maybe you might be into this articulated Steelix. Go pick one up. Go make your friends jealous. Or stick to the original Kanto line like this Onyx, fully articulated, waiting for you to go buy it. Whatever the case, there's always something for everybody on my Etsy shop, so go pick something out and help support the channel. Or if that doesn't tickle your fancy, you can go ahead and pre-order my comic book, The Super 6. Pre-order bonuses is wide open and you get this exclusive overcharged cover. Pre-orders end June 3rd and the book launches June 17th, so go ahead and get that. Or you can go ahead and check out my Patreon. For $3 a month, you can say thank you, or for $20 a month, you'll get a very special loot box full of random prints that you might have seen in my store, or maybe might be something I haven't really printed yet. Who knows? Whatever the case may be, this will help support the channel. So go ahead and check out any of those things. I'm not a sponsored YouTuber, guys, but I do have a lot of things and ways that you can help support the channel. So go ahead and check out what I have to offer, and I hope you guys do help your boy out. Now, back to the video.
Now that we got all the formalities out of the way, let's crack this thing open and let's see how big this thing really is. I am so stoked. I can't wait. I hope the space in my lab is big enough for this thing. Otherwise that would be really disappointing if it wasn't. Man, I did not think of that. Oh well, let's crack it open.
Alright, so my favorite part of the video is going over all the bells and whistles this thing can do. Anycubic Kobra Max is one of Anycubic's newer printers. Like I said in my Photon Mono X video, they have come out with their M3 line, and I guess that was their resin line, so I guess they're going over and they're starting a new set of printers with their FDM line. Now, I thought Anycubic was strictly resin. I didn't know they had an FDM printer. Not at all. But, you know, surprise, surprise, they do. Now, I wanted a large-scale printer. I do have an Ender 5 Plus, but I think that has seen better days because I got this at auction and I have been repairing it step by step. Every time something goes wrong with this printer, I had to buy parts to put it together. So I think just saving me the time and headache, I think buying a more reliable printer was in the card. So my original thought was getting a Creality CR10 Max. I loved Creality's printers. They're pretty good and they're pretty right out of the box ready to go. But, you know, looking on their website, I wasn't able to see anything regarding the CR10 Max. I've been trying to find it to kind of update, because I was really going to go jump the gun and do that, but I haven't really seen their CR10 Max anywhere. I saw a few that were on auction, but didn't want to repeat the same thing that I did when it came down, just like with my Ender 5 Plus. So I wanted to get something that was brand new, that was out of the box, that was ready to go, and easy to work with. Now they do have a CR6 Max 3D printer, and it's a tad bit smaller in the Z direction. It's 400 by 400 by 400. The Kobra Max is 400 by 400 by 450. So they do have their large scale printer here, but the CR10 Max is what I was actually going for, and I don't see it anywhere on their website, unfortunately. So not really sure what happened there, but those of you who were very lucky enough to get a CR10 Max, I envy you very, very much. So going back to the Anycubic Kobra Max, I got my printer way before I did this recording on Amazon for $5.99. I was right around the time the printer was released, so Amazon was doing a pretty good discount. Now, you can also go to Anycubic's website and get it for $5.69. Issue with that is that the money that you spend in tax and shipping, of course, is going to probably equal what Amazon is selling it for right now, at a grand total price of $7.49. But on Amazon, you can take $120 off right now and get free shipping and get it here in 2 to 3 days to your door. Anycubic is coming from China. You might not see this thing for a few weeks, if not a month. So it depends. You're kind of, in my opinion, going to be spending the same amount of money, whether you go with the $7.49 on Amazon, save $120, or you go to Anycubic, get it for $5.69. And you would have to pay for shipping, and you probably won't get it as fast. So if you are working on a project or something and you need a printer, I would suggest maybe going to Amazon, saving that $120 and getting it in your door as soon as possible. So there you go. So let's go over the specs of this bad boy. Again, it's not as big as the CR10 Max. This thing has a build volume of 400 by 400 by 450. I believe the CR10 Max was a little bit more. I think it was 450 by 450 by 520. I could be wrong, but it was the biggest printer that I've ever seen, and that would have run you about $1,000 on Amazon, $1,099 on Creality's website. So it all depends on you. I do have to note though that Anycubic's Chiron printer is actually their large scale printer that is pretty much the equivalent of this thing. So the Chiron printer was actually really good in terms of build volume and size. It's actually very equivalent in terms of size to the to the Kobra Max. The same size, has the same build volume, has the same everything, and 400 by 400 by I think 450. Yeah, same build volume as the Kobra Max. The only problem is that when you're looking at the bells and whistle of the printer, the Kobra Max come with a lot of cool features than the Chiron. The Chiron is on sale for about $3.49 because I think Anycubic is trying to get rid of their stock so they can push the Kobra Max. So you can actually get this large scale printer on tap for $3.49 straight from Anycubic, and I think if you look on Amazon, you may or may not be able to get a better price for that. So this does not have an automatic build volume. Not build volume, bed leveling system. I'm sorry. The Chiron, like I said, was one of their printers that they put together back in the day. It's still a good printer, so if you want a large scale printer but don't want to pay the price of the Anycubic Kobra Max, go for it. But in comparison to the Anycubic Kobra Max, this is some of the bells and whistles that's the thing. So now the Kobra Max has this leveling system called LeviQ. It's a smart auto leveling system. Gone are the days of the BO Touch. We don't use BO Touch anymore. The BO Touch was the smart leveling that you could get, and I like the BO Touch because if it broke, you didn't have to scrap the entire printer. You can just buy another BO Touch, install it on your printer, and keep on going with your print. This thing, however, is a little bit more smarter than that. Now, you're not going to believe me when I say this, but when I was reading the instructions on how to level this thing, it said take a tool and tap the nozzle. I thought I was reading that wrong, so I did do that. I took the little wrench that came with it, I tapped the nozzle, I waited for about a few seconds, and this thing went to home, heated up, and started its 25-point leveling system. So I don't know what's going on in this printer. I have no idea. It might be a proximity sensor. It might be something else. I don't know. but it is awesome when it comes to leveling. Now, I am a little concerned if this thing ends up breaking, the leveling system becomes faulty for whatever reason. How do I replace it? I don't know. I guess I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Kind of my little future worries here. But the leveling system in this printer is fantastic, and I will show you guys what I mean when it's later on in this video. Really cool. Again, like I said, huge building volume, 400 by 400 by 450, roughly translates to about 17 by 17 by 17 and a half, something like that. I don't know. It's in millimeters. I'm not doing math. It's too early. It does have the runout detection system. So the filament system sensor breaks. It does stop the print. There is some issues with that I don't necessarily like, and I'll get into that a bit later. But going here, those are pretty much like all the pretty bells and whistles. So the selling point on me was the level Q, and I saw people who have gotten their hands on a Kobra Max level it, and I thought it was pretty cool, and it doesn't miss a beat. It's really accurate. All the prints that I've done so far have been like solid plastic. Like you can barely see any layer lines, and I like that. I like that. It makes the whole post work, the sanding and all that stuff minuscule. You can just hit it with a filler primer, sand it down a little bit, and most of the print lines kind of go away. You still have to use a little Bondo, but it makes the processing time a bit more workable when you have a schedule like mine. Now, this thing does work in Anycubic, not Anycubic, whoa. This thing does work in Cura and or Simplified 3D. The problem with that is that there is no profile set in Simplified 3D yet. Yeah, I like using Simplified 3D to slice most of my stuff because it's actually super quick, it's fast, and I don't have to worry about it. It's done. Cura, I'm not big on Cura because it takes forever for the program to slice. And when you're doing big things like a helmet or something like that, it does take a minute. It takes a minute for the thing to slice. But I will tell you this, that Anycubic did provide you with a profile for both PLA and I think TPU. So you can actually just import those profiles into Cura, and this thing, like I said, right out of the box is ready to go. Now, Simplified 3D, you have to dial in your settings. Obviously, I didn't want to do that just yet because it came from the manufacturer with these profiles, and I wanted to see how well these prints actually looked, and they looked great. And I don't want to mess with that just yet. So I wanted to get these two props printed up and out of here. And then I was going to start playing around with Simplified 3D. Now, there's some people who actually figured out how to do Simplified 3D with the Kobra Max. So I'm going to check with these guys in the Facebook page and see what it is they're doing. But this thing, right out of the box, once you get it together, it is ready to go. There's no problems. This thing is just, it's just great to work with. I love it. I mean, you can't really knock it if you have any issues with it. And so far, people that I've seen have given this thing solid reviews. I think the lowest review is like a 3.5, and that's probably because some of the setup things are a little bit pain in the assy, but it is what it is. All right, so that's my spiel on it. This printer is actually top notch in my opinion. If you haven't gotten one, go ahead and get it. Again, hashtag not sponsored. So let's get back to seeing what the first print can do.
Well, that was a lot of work putting this thing together, but it looks awesome. Look at this thing. It is massive. This is my Anycubic Kobra. That's my Sidewinder with mushroom naps on it. Hey! Oh, excuse me. A little bit taller, but in comparison, this build plate is like ginormous compared to this build plate. So I can see where the hype is coming from. Alright, let's fire this bad boy up. See what it says. Ooh, that's neat. I can get used to that. So these things come with belt tensioners, which I think are pretty neat. In case there's some slippage going on. I'm just going to tighten up the belts here just a bit. Not too much. Maybe that's a bit much. Tune them down. Alright, cool. Alright, plug in the power cord and then power on the printer. Before leveling, please ensure the platform and nozzle are clean and free of foreign matter to avoid the leveling effect. Let's see if you guys can see this here. Probably can't because it's kind of blurry, but return to main menu, then click Prepare Leveling, Auto Leveling. A pop-up window appears that prompts you to use a tool, such as a tool to touch a nozzle for calibration. Note that you need to do the calibration within 1 minute. Okay, I gotta go get a tool. Be right back. Okay, I'm back with my tool. Let's see how to do this thing. So it says go to, what is this? Prepare, leveling, auto leveling. Use a tool to touch the printer nozzle and calibrate leveling. Okay. Oh, it's moving. It's moving. Alright, so I guess I kind of realized that I didn't really show you guys how this little tool here levels this thing out. So I'm going to do that for you right now. So we go over here, we hit prepare, leveling, auto leveling. It says use a tool to level the bed. So you can see the nozzle right there. I'm going to take this tool and I'm going to tap it. Just like that. Now it's homing. And now the bed is heating. So once it's done heating, it's going to do is 16-point little deal. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much how you level the thing. Pretty cool. It's actually really quiet. Usually these big printers are normally quiet, so not too surprised. Back in the day when we had our original little, what's that, our Enders, before they came out with their upgraded motherboard, man, those things were loud, like really loud. Oh, it's moving. So the nozzle is coming all the way down and touching the bed. So this is how it actually calibrates. Well, that's neat. Normally when you're using an auto bed leveling system, it has a BO touch to it. This one does not have a BO touch. This one is using the nozzle. I guess the nozzle has some type of sensor on it. And if it does, how would you change out your nozzles? Would be the question, because these use a volcano head kind of nozzle, which means the nozzle, like I showed in the beginning, is actually longer than your standard nozzle. So, I wonder how that would work. Curious. I've been told that this is actually a more accurate leveling than using a BO touch. I have a BO touch that I use at work. It's okay, but I've run into issues where the pin ends up not deploying or there's debris inside of the BO touch that causes it to mess up. So we'll see how well this works. I'm really excited actually. Woo, I can't wait. Alright guys, be right back. Alrighty folks, so now we're going to get our first thing of filament into this machine and we are going to print whatever test print came with the model. It's always interesting to print the test print because their setting seems to always be like on point, but when you try to like do it yourself,
there's no adhesion, it's under extrusion, there's some issue. So I wish that these companies would share with you their print settings so there's no issues. That'd be great. But the thing is heating up. You can't really see the screen, but it's heating up to about 230 and it's just about there. So I'm about to feed this filament through. We have to go through the filament sensor and the extruder here, and it's going to come all the way through and extrude out to here. Once that's in there, we can start the test print. So let's do that. All right. Nothing like your first extrusion. Bring out that smoke. Not really sure how this is supposed to go, but I'll just leave it like that for now. Alright, let's put on our first test print and let's see what it does. Alright, so this little owl statue is just going along for the ride. This thing is actually going really fast. I hear these owls take like 6-7 hours to print. We have only been printing for about 45 minutes, and we already have the log in the foot. You can even see the texture in the log, which is really cool. Now, I've never printed one of these before, but I would assume this is at maybe a 0.2 layer height, if not more or less. I'm gonna say maybe less. But yeah, this is where we are. This is where we're at. Sorry. There you go. That's my update. Alright, ladies and gents. Well, this owl has just finished printing. Oh, that's really on there. Gotta get something to scrape this off. Where is my little scraper tool? Now for a second. So the quality of this thing is not bad at all. Oh wow, it has a flower on top. That's cool. It's actually really neat. I'm not sure what the layer height of this thing is, but this is really cool. Alright, well let's try something bigger. Alright, so I went ahead and sliced a Stormtrooper helmet that I'm trying to get made. So I didn't do any type of like slicing or anything like that. I used whatever settings were in the flash drive. So I didn't do any type of my own personal things. I just throw it into the machine and I'm letting it do its thing. So I'm curious because I never really use Cure for any big prints. Most of that just kind of goes to Simplified 3D. So I don't know. Like we'll see how this works. First layer looks like it's coming out pretty good, so I don't really have any complaints. So we'll just have to see what it does. By the way, this is going to take 3 days. Yeah, man. 3 days. Alright, here we go. What's going on, everyone? Sorry if my voice seems a little bit muffled or something. The microphone on my camera just died, so I'm giving you guys an update on this awesome new printer, the Anycubic Kobra Max. I'm printing a Stormtrooper helmet, and right now we are just about over 50%. I know you can't see the screen. I don't know why I keep on showing it to you, but yeah. So far it's been going on for 45 hours and 24 minutes, and it's over 55% completed. So when I first did this slice, it was going to be about
4 days. 3 days, actually. Yeah, so it was going on 2 days right now. It's going to be about a 3-day print. But so far, everything looks really good. I mean, I'm really impressed by how it did the eyes without necessarily needing any types of support in there. So I guess whatever settings I put on there that was already preloaded are actually really good bridging settings. This thing looks really simple, really easy. Looks like the smoothing process for when it comes down to sanding is going to be really simple because the layer lines are just so, they're solid. You know, there's perfect adhesion. This thing is really solid. So I'm really excited to kind of finish this up and get it out. So this is what it looks like on this printer. I printed it with my Sidewinder, and I think my Sidewinder has some issues with how well the bed is moving because I did this one. You can't really see it's upside down and it's full of like support, so I don't want to like throw it around, but you can see the layer line right there in the grill, and then it tried to correct itself. So I think there might be something going on in my build plate. Maybe the bearings underneath are too tight or something. I don't know, I gotta look into it, but this one seems to be running really smooth, and these belt tensioners here are actually very, very neat and come in handy. But this thing didn't really print so well. As you can see, there's some under extrusion right here. Other than that, not a bad print. It's a lot bigger than this one because I scaled this one up to 120%, but still, I think this one will probably be a bit better in terms of quality as opposed to this one. So we're just going to have to wait and see what this one comes out with. We got about another day and some change, maybe a day and a half, depending on how this all goes. But right now, it seems to be working fairly well, and I'm really pushing the limits of this printer. It's been going on since late Monday, no, since Tuesday actually. So there's a lot to kind of take into account here, and I'm really impressed with how well this thing is held up right out of the box. So I'll give you guys another look-see once this thing is finished. Alright, let's see what we got. Yeah, as you guys know, I've already ripped off most of the supports on this thing already, but look at this helmet. My god, this thing looks fantastic. There's a little bit of work that needs to be done on the top because it was upside down, so, but other than that, the layer lines on this thing is smooth. Everything looks pristine. You can't even tell from the video that there are layer lines here, but you can hear it with my fingernail. So I've never done just hitting it with a filler primer and calling it a day, but I think with the layer lines at this kind of resolution here, I think I can get away with it. I will have to do some sanding up here though to kind of smooth this down a little bit. But other than that, dude, this thing looks great. It took a total of 78 hours, so a little over 3 days to print, which isn't off. The print, the G-code told me just under 72 hours, so yeah, the estimate was on point, about 3 days. So this thing looks great. I still have to resin print the knobs and the mouthpiece, as well as the side profiles that come and connect here. But other than that, this thing looks great. I can dig it. Awesome. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me. This helmet came out fantastic. The print lines are all just, there's some issues, like a little bit of maybe some gapping, but that's something that a little Bondo and a little bit of sanding can't handle. So I'm really excited with how this thing turned out, and I'm going to have to, you know, do a little work to get it all nice, pretty white. I'm actually going to be resin printing the attachments that go on the chin and the nozzles, as well as the side pieces. Those pieces, they're going to look great, especially since I have the color of the resin that they go into. So all I have to do is resin print, wash and cure them, put them together, and this thing is going to look great. There is some issues with the inside because some of the supports are stuck in there, but take some 80 grit sandpaper to that. This thing should come right on out, and layer it with some foam, do the lenses with some tint film, and that is it. So I'm really happy with this Anycubic Kobra Max. It is such a great printer, and I can't wait to start building my Star Boost suit on it. Yeah, I'm going to start doing it. I have a big enough printer now, and I'm super stoked with getting that thing started. So I got a few more things that I want to print, a few more helmets that I want to print for an upcoming show that I'm doing. So I'm going to do that first, but you can best believe that I will be doing a Star Boost build video series on doing my entire suit, and I can't wait to get that going. So until next time, guys, my name is Will at Heroic Studios. Please hit that subscribe button. Let me know how you guys like it. If you have an Anycubic Kobra Max, how do you like it? Do you think some improvements can be made, or you think it's fine just the way it is? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Follow me on my social media accounts. I'm going to be doing a lot more updates now that I got this awesome printer, and I can't wait to show you guys what I do next. So that's me over and out. This Stormtrooper helmet. Just look at it. Look at this thing. Alright, before I go, I forgot to talk about this little filament sensor right here. Alright, now with any printer that you get, the filament sensor, whenever you run out of filament, it does a macro where it comes over to the side and it tells you, hey, you're out of filament, you need to refill the filament sensor. This printer doesn't do that, and I don't know if there's an error in the ending script or in the macro that tells it, hey, when you're out of filament, go ahead, move off to the side, raise up a little bit, and tell your operator that you need to refill it. Like, my Sidewinder does it perfectly. It'll lift up a few millimeters and say, hey, you're out of filament, you need to refill the spool, make sure you put it through the sensor. It actually won't even start up again if the filament isn't coming through this sensor. So, I don't know if that's something that Anycubic forgot to include, but I know, like, there's probably a G-code or a script that you can add into Cura that says, hey, when you're out of filament, move off to the side or lift up 10 millimeters and tell your user that you need to refill your filament sensor. So that is my biggest issue with that. It's kind of annoying because the nozzle doesn't lift up, it just stays right there, and you get these little gloops of print, just like right here. You can kind of sort of see it when I had to change it. There's like a little piece right there. Not a lot, nothing sanding. Nothing a little sanding won't take care of, but it is sort of like annoying. But yeah, that is my biggest pet peeve about this thing. If you guys know of like a G-code script that I can add into the slicing settings to tell it, hey, when you're out, move off to the side or move up 10 millimeters, let me know. That'll be great. Thanks.